Hey everybody, you guessed it, today we're going to continue working on the Lego City. We're making some tremendous progress on the raised platform here. It's so close to being done. The thing that really bothers me is this raised platform is not completely covered. So today we've got to build some crazy platform coverings. So these platform coverings are going to be quite unique, different from the others, that's for sure. We need to build one that's 1.5 base plates. That's going to go right there. And of course, these platform coverings are going to support the elevated train track just like the other ones do. That's essential. And then the next one is going to be 2 base plates wide. And that one there is going to have a tunnel for this train track. And the most difficult one to build is by far the most difficult to reach as well. It is also going to be 2 base plates wide, and that's going to accommodate 2 train tracks. So we need to build either 2 tunnels or 1 large tunnel. It's going to be fairly difficult to reach in there and extract the plates and stuff that I require to build this. So first thing I have to do is just move all of these rides and get them out of the way so that I can have a clear vision and I can start working in this area with nothing in the way. This just goes to show you how tall this loop coaster actually is. Like way taller than my tables. That is crazy. So I figured it was best to move all of those large 48x48 train track plates so I can get this thing out of the way. And now that this is all clear here, I can start to visualize these platform coverings. It's so essential to get these correct, and I just want to get them done because once they're done, it's going to completely transform this area. So first things first, I've pretty much got to remove this raised train line. All of these supports are going to become irrelevant because it's going to be freely supported by the platform coverings. Like, that is such a bonus in my opinion. You want to hear something crazy? You know the vlog that I just did where I built like all the Marvel sets and cleaned up the Lego City and started fixing the walls over there? I'm actually doing this that night. I'm just like full on addicted to the Lego City right now. It's actually nuts. Actually, after uploading that video, I was down here later that day sanding the walls and then vacuuming up the mess that created. But the walls are pretty much ready to go for paint now. Look at that. I love that stuff. You can't even see those big patches anymore. Once I get the paint on there, it's going to be perfect. I love how that stuff just dries white. Oh yeah, and then you'll probably see some arches on my desk here. So the platform coverings that we're creating today are going to take a grand total of 66 arches, and no, I do not have enough. Oh, and don't worry, I'm not a bad husband. Okay, Jose wanted to watch her show. She gave me the boot. She was like, you got to play video games or you got to do something because I want to watch my show. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go work on the Lego City if that's all right with you. So it was a all good moment. So this one is going to be the easiest because it's literally just building 1.5 of these. That's super simple. This one is going to be rather interesting because it's going to be built on like this curve mills plate because this is one big plate right here and then it has all the underlying tile for the ballasting, right? So this is one big plate. So it's actually going to have to be built onto this and then also have this little tiny piece right there. And that's going to make it 2 base plates. I just figure it's going to be easier to build this as 2 big pieces, which will stretch the full length of the table, which is 40 inches, rather than having like, 1.5 or 1. It just makes more sense to make it in 2 large chunks. And then saving the craziest one for last, it's going to have to sit on this like 15 inch by 15 inch base plate with the curve. And then also on this half base plate right there that has some sawdust on it from when I was installing track shelving, I guess. But yeah, I'm just going to have to extract that and this and build it on that. That is so strange, but I think it's going to be the easiest way to do this. Just like everything, when you transport it from the Lego City to my desk, it looks a lot larger than it does over there. Like I remember when you were having a look at the medieval jousting and the blacksmith on my desk, it was like, whoa, that's huge. And this is like, whoa, that is huge. So this is a standard platform covering. It sits on a 16x32 base plate. I always like bringing 1 or 2 of these over to my desk when building platform coverings, just so I have like a reference model. So that's a standard one there. Then I also have this one here with the tunnel. This one is going to get modified, but I don't think I'm going to have enough parts to modify this today. I'm going to be adding 16 studs of depth to the actual tunnel, That way it looks like it's actually going into like the mountain or the raised platform. That's going to be a super cool project, but I might have to save that for another day because these platform coverings take a huge amount of gray brick. Like there are just a ridiculous amount of gray bricks and a ridiculous amount of arches and masonry bricks in each one. Like it is very part intensive. So the first one I built was the 1.5 base plate one. And this one here is essentially the same as this, but it is 1.5 base plates. Now it doesn't have the raised train support. It only has one of them over here because it's going to be positioned right next to a tunnel. So it's essentially the exact same concept. I put them on the rock panels just because that helped conserve brick, and I just think that it adds like something different, a nice texture to the base of it, and then they build up off of that. I just think it looks a little bit better. If it was just to be like this all the way down, it might get a little bit boring. The green really adds some nice color, and those are just snot mounted in the spot. And then the trail on top, which is going to be connecting all the way along the raised platform. Now, I am out of these slopes here. There is one modified one right here that was built using a snot brick and a 2x3 slope. But the other things that we can use are the 2x3 bricks or 2x4 bricks. I guess they could be substituted. That's what I had to do because I've got all of them built. And then you also could use some of the larger 2x3 inverted slopes and also 1x3 inverted slopes, but I, once again, don't have enough of those. So eventually when the time comes, I'm going to have to swap out some of the parts found on this one here because I just used 2x4 bricks. So this is the biggest one yet. It is on it stretches 2 base plates, and it's sort of a funky shape, right? It's got that curve on the backside. This little panel can be removed because that's just a 16x16 plate. But yeah, it's built right onto the mills curve like I was mentioning. We had to do that. And once again, it's got the same rocks on the bottom. I'm out of gray slopes. I've used all of my gray slopes. It would be nice to add a little bit more texture here, but once again, I got to order some more gray slopes. It has the tunnel. The tunnel is a bit wider than I wanted it to be, but it had to have clearance for the trains because it starts curving immediately. I hope it's enough clearance there. I think it is. I tested it, but you never know. Maybe when I fire up a train, it's going to smash into the tunnel. But I just built these tunnel walls using masonry bricks in light gray. And you can see the tunnel wall is only 14 studs. That's because I left 2 studs here, so it actually just lines up with that perfectly. You're not really going to be able to see in there. It's going to be quite shadowed, so I just decided to make it 14 studs. I mean, technically you could build an actual tunnel going all the way in, but definitely don't need to do that. Then it's got the same arches, evenly distributed, the 6 studs apart, right, even on top of the tunnel. And this tunnel is just capped with a 16x16 plate and also a 2x16 plate. You can see it coming out of the back there actually. And then I just built up off of that. You can see there's actually 2 layers of plate there. So the 3 plates, that being the 16x16 and the 2 layers of 1x plate, make a brick. Then it just evenly lined up with that, and I was able to attach it all together. This is the example. I ran out of those arches. Once again, I'm gonna have to swap those up when I order more arches, but I just put 2x4 bricks or 1x4 bricks on the edge and built it right into the platform covering. The next one is the double tunnel. So this one was very interesting. It has a double tunnel, so the interior wall is actually 2 studs wide, has some masonry on the front of it too, and then I actually connected these 2 plates. I was trying to like maybe make separate little plate, but it doesn't really matter once you place this in the city. And if I really needed to move this, like honestly, it would just pop right off. And then it's just a solid a solid light gray wall here. For this tunnel, wasn't too worried about adding masonry to that because it's like buried in the corner. Just feels like it would be a waste of parts. But there is some nice masonry on this side here, and once again some vines creeping up the wall there, and then just more of the same. This one here, I actually had the 2x3 inverted slopes. Sorry, I had to use them as a part substitution for those arches, and then the trail continues along the entire top. So now that we've got these all made, take a look at it on the desk there. Isn't that spectacular? Yeah, it's massive. Once again, that is just huge when you look at it like on a desk. So yeah, it's just like really long. This stretch is, what is it, 40 inches, then 15, so 55, and then another 20, so 75 inches or 7.5 base plates, if my math is correct there. Yeah, I think it is. So that's 7.5 base plates worth of light gray brick, which is just insane. My light gray brick drawer is lacking. Whoops, wrong one. This was pretty much brimmed at the beginning of this, and this silly head had a lot more 2x brick in it. So I'm pretty much out. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough brick left over to build the tunnel that I want to build here. Luckily, my pab wall, as of late, has been getting some 1x10 bricks. So I'm hoping maybe if I go to the pab wall, I'll be able to get some more bricks. Yeah, it's just a thing. We're always running out of bricks. And then also that raised train line. So that's going to come around the corner here. And these are actually going to act as supports for the raised train. Now, the tunnels had to be higher because they have to accommodate these massive trains like the Disney train, and it just barely fits in there. So when it's on the track, it does fit, I think. I hope. What, did I make this one too low? Maybe. Is that tunnel too low? Potentially. I don't think so. Hopefully not. It definitely does fit. Let me test. Oh, it's because the train track's not pushed down. That's why. But yeah, the Disney train passes through those tunnels. So those tunnels actually have to be a little bit taller than our raised train supports. But what I'm going to do is just elevate the raised train, and as it approaches the corner, it'll already be raised up, and then it'll go around here, and then all I have to do is just add some plate on here so that supports the train. And then eventually when it gets past these train tunnels, it can go back down to standard height and go on these here. So yeah, a lot of work to get these all built. And you know what? Now we're going to place them in the Lego City. So there's the before shot of placing them. You saw that earlier. Looks like a bomb went off in here, but it actually didn't take very long to remove all that stuff so that we could build those platform coverings. Another thing that we need to take care of is this trail. So this trail meanders and it sort of ends right there. What we're going to do is continue the same trail, and it's going to go on all the platform coverings all the way to the staircase, which actually services the raised train station, which is built right into the platform coverings. Before I move these, I just want to confirm and I want to show you how crazy close this is. It is actually ridiculous. What is that, a millimeter? What I could do is just remove this plate if it becomes an issue, but I don't think it's going to become an issue. But if I remove that plate, then we have another plate of clearance there. Definitely looks better when it's complete though. And honestly, the Disney train is sort of stationed at the Studgate train station for the majority of the time. Didn't really want to raise it up another plate or another brick just because of that. This is the most robust train. So if this train fits through this tunnel, that's turn radius and also height, any train will fit through this tunnel. Seriously though, how cool does that look? I don't even want to put them back in the city. I just want to admire them on my super long desk here. That's another thing that's super convenient about me having that laptop up on the shelf, right? Now this desk, the one on the far left there, can actually move around, and I can create this super long desk setup so we can accommodate huge things like this. It's actually crazy. Placing the coverings was a little bit of a struggle. There's just a little bit of misalignment happening in this corner of the city. I've been discussing that for quite some time. Just like when you're building a massive city, I sound like a broken record saying this, but when you're building a massive city and your last corner is right over here and it's sort of right up against two walls, there's just a little bit of misalignment that's a little bit hard to correct. But luckily, everything is connected. So the train lines are connected. The tunnels are looking pretty sweet there. Also, starting to work on the raised train line. So it actually has to go up a little bit because, like I was saying, these tunnels have to be a little bit taller to accommodate the Disney train. So it actually has to go up a grand total of a brick and a plate. So what I've done is I've added one plate per support starting back here. So it goes one plate, then two plates, then a brick and a plate, and then we're at the same height as the tunnels. And then the same with that over here as well. So I actually added it right to the column. So it's one plate, then you'll see two plates there, an additional brick there, an additional brick and a plate, and then that puts us at the right height. And this large segment of track is ridiculous. Definitely the largest segment of raised train line here in the city is all supported by plate underneath and tiles on top, just like all of the raised train lines or the raised train track. And that is going to go right there. And that should complete the raised line. Just like that there. So now I have to deal with the Haunted Mansion. Not sure what to do with this set. It's sort of been like my trouble child. Having a hard time fitting in the amusement park. I did have it up there, but there's nowhere to access it, which is fine. Some people have been telling me to put a castle on the raised platform, like in that corner, to continue the castle theme. This is like a corner build, and it looks cool when it's elevated up off the ground, but it doesn't really match the castle theme. It's definitely like an old school building, but not really a castle. It might fit on one of these track shelves. A lot of people have been telling me to put it up there. Track shelves are 12 inches. This base plate is 15 inches, so it overhang by probably about, 2 inches. So it might not look the best on a track shelf either. So I don't know what to do with that, and I don't know what to do with the corner. I mean, I could get rid of this grounds here and use this space, like the 2-3 studs there and the 6 studs or 8 studs there, and raise that up a bit and put that in the corner. It might actually look pretty neat. And I think that's what I'm leaning toward, just because I have nowhere else to put it. And I want it to be in my city. This thing cost me a fortune to build based on all the parts that I had to order. And I think if I Mills plate it and give it not the same treatment as this, because there's, I don't know, I think it's just a little bit different, but give it some sort of treatment, it might look pretty good in that corner. Okay, it has been a long day of all this. It's time to reassemble this entire corner. This is quite honestly just such a feel-good moment for me. Like having this raised platform pretty much 100% complete. Like I'm at loss for words. I just feel so good that this is completed. And man, those platform coverings really do a great job of just transforming this whole area and just concealing the trains, and the train tunnels are just perfect. Check it out. I've got 3 trains ready to go for this very special moment. The first one here is going to be the Hogwarts Express, which is motorized using Moonman Bricks instructions. Thank you so much once again, man. Happy to see that in the amusement park here, passing through these new tunnels. Very good. Oh, my 2x2 plate is missing to cover up that button there. That's okay. Next up, we've got the yellow and blue passenger train. And that one can pretty much glide right beside the Hogwarts Express there. And once again, pass through those tunnels. And you'll see it in there. And it's going to make its way all the way underneath the raised platform. And it's going to pop out right over there. And then the third train, of course, is the raised line. So we can have all 3 trains operational at the same time. And I've gone all in on trains. It's taken a long time to sort of perfect the setup and make the raised line, as good as it is with the tiled off track. I still need to go around and make sure all my tracks are nicely pushed off because it's still doing a little bit of a dance there. And you know what? This really symbolizes like the completion of a project that I've been working on for so long, and it's like I said, a really feel-good moment. And the next thing I have to do is I'm going to work on the Haunted Mansion. I've decided that the Haunted Mansion will be going in that corner. I'm just going to raise it up. Probably 3 bricks or so, and it will be going in that corner. And I might just do it with like stone, maybe like dark gray or light gray, rather than having the continuation of the green hills. Not 100% sold on that. Maybe it'll be like a combination of stone and grass, similar to what I did with the Lion Knight's Castle. I just think that might match up pretty well with that building. And that trail connects all the way along. That's a feel-good moment too. And just so many parts and so much time and dedication has gone into this raised platform and getting these trains to the point where they're fully operational and all of the lines look good. Because all of the train ballasting, the raised train supports, and just all of the Mills plate work that went into it has been overwhelming, to say the least. So right now the Disney train is not operational. Well, it is operational, but I would have to share a line with the Hogwarts Express. and that might just be a little bit too chaotic. So it can be one train running at a time. It is currently parked at the Studgate train station. And yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world having one parked there. I'd rather have all of them operational, but it is what it is. I don't want to allocate any more space to trains than I already have. There's been one commenter who keeps insisting that I move the Lego City line so that it goes right here beside the amusement park line, but I've decided to keep it to the exterior just because I don't really want to have another train track passing through the entrance of the amusement park. So that's my reasoning, and just the spacing of it all with the raised line. It works better when these two train tracks are beside each other because the raised line supports actually go in between the two ground lines. There's a cool perspective there. You can see the trains passing through the tunnel at the same time. So yeah, everybody, there we go. We got the raised platform pretty much 100% complete, and those platform coverings, they've been on my mind for quite some time, and I'm really happy to check that box on the to-do list. Thank you so much for coming on by. I hope you enjoyed this video. Really happy we could end it with some epic Lego train action. And yeah, have yourselves a great day. Remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Farewell.